Hi, and welcome to Cockatude, Cockatoos with Attitude. And here are two Cockatoos with Attitude. Yeah, today we're going to talk about one of the techniques, actually two of the techniques, that you can use when you have a bird that's getting a little aggressive. And right now I've got two Tritons here. This one is Pippa, Pip. She's a female. And this one is the Babaloo. So we have Mr. Bob here. I often call him the room monitor because he wants to get his little face into everything. And then we have Pippa here. Little Pip. Now, Pippa, when she first came here, she actually bit Bob's tongue. It hurt him pretty bad. Not her fault. He just wouldn't leave her alone. That's because the room monitor he just won't let things go. If I do something like I wanted to get the primary reinforcers, sunflower seeds, I wanted to get those ready for this little episode, and he was just all on it. But I'll tell you one thing, he wasn't paying attention to her. Now, I've worked with her extensively. Haven't I, girl? Haven't I? What are you complaining about over there? I've worked with her extensively, and she just is not as touchy, not as aggressive anymore. It was all a matter of territoriality. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to bump your little beak there, girl. Now, one of the professors I learned from doesn't believe in this particular technique. It's called non-contingent reinforcement. Yep. Well, sometimes you get a little old school. I discussed it with her, and she just doesn't like the idea at all. But it works, okay? I've studied it on autistic children. And speaking of autistic children, now, Jasmine, where are you going? Here's the Jazz. Now, the way non-contingent reinforcement works is you give the birds around you a reinforcer, okay? I'm going to give one to Bob, okay? I'll give one to Lorelei if she wants it. On an irregular schedule. You don't have to worry about how much time there is between it. You just give it occasionally. And that won't change their behavior over time. It'll change their behavior that day. That day, they're going to be less aggressive, more involved in what's going on, more concerned with what you have to say, okay? So it's that simple. You just occasionally give a reinforcer to each of them. Pippa. Pip. Pippa. Hey. Come here, Pip. Pippa. Come on down. Come here, Pip. Come on. Come on, Pip. And that's all there is to it. They've already gotten some. I had to reshoot this because they've been bound. Get out of my pouch there, you dipstick. There you go. They've been bouncing around, knocking the camera around, but that's all there is to that technique. Just during the day, while you're with them, occasionally, I'm doing this a little more than I would, but occasionally give them a reinforcer. Okay? And that will lessen the aggression for that day. The other technique we'll talk about shortly. Babaloo? Bob? Okay, so I gave him something he likes, a sunflower seed, which you take out of their diet. They only get this. No, that's an empty shell. You're not getting another one right. No. See, he's so picky. No, you're too smart, too. You're going to want to get in there to get these, but we're not going to do that, okay? Play with his beak a little bit. Okay. Now, the one, somewhere up here, we got a Pippa. I don't know where Pippa went. That's the one we have issues with. Or get out of there. You're not going to have it. Go scoot. No. He knows where they are now. So where's Pippa? Pip. Oh, there she is. There's the Pip. So if Pip comes down, she's not coming down right now. But if she does come down, I give her a sunflower seed. Now, here's another bird that's in here. That's Lorelei. Now, this has been working with children. You've got autistic children in a room. Some of them tend to cause trouble, they start throwing things or have fits. If you give them a little reinforcer like this irregularly during the day, every 5 or 10 minutes, they'll not be causing any problems, and it works just the same way for the birds. This will not mean that you have solved the problem forever. It only works that day. I have another technique I'm going to talk about here shortly that works to actually change things over time. Now, another methodology is called differential reinforcement of other behavior, or DRO. Now, that'll be a permanent thing. And what I'm doing here today is only going to last for today. I just gave one to Sal. Come here. There was a little tension down here, so I gave him another. Trying to get my arm around, guys. Okay, with DRO, I know the names seem complicated, but it's differential reinforcement. Would you watch it, Bob? You can't have all of them. It's differential reinforcement because it's like think of it like a teeter-totter, like a seesaw, right? If you're going to move one side, the other side's got to move too. So if you're going to reduce a behavior on one side, you have to fill it with something else. So what you do with that is you need a watch. You need a watch for this technique. And you can't climb on that hand. Would you mind getting off the hand that's holding the camera? Thank you. Get off the hand that's holding the camera. Yes, silly. So if you have a bird that does something, let's say you have one bird sitting on your lap, and another bird comes over and he's been coming over and nipping you while you've been holding the other bird. So what you're going to do there is maybe you'll do a 5 or 10 minute session. You'll recreate the situation that caused the problem. Hi there, little girl. Or little boy, sorry. It's a big boy, not a little. There you go. You want that? No. All right. So what you're going to do then is, let's say that the problem usually occurs in the first minute. So let's start with 30 seconds. So what you'll do is you will give, are you walking down on my chest? Okay. So every 30 seconds you would give, let's say she doesn't really care about the sunflower seeds right now, but every 30 seconds you would give that sunflower seed. Now, the exception to that is if the bird becomes aggressive and tries to bite, at that point, you reset the timer and count out another 30 seconds. You just keep doing that for your 10-minute session. So what happens there is the bird learns, and believe me, they know time. They know it better than we do. So don't guess the time. It won't work. You need to actually have something, a watch, a timer, a stopwatch, something to keep the track of how much time is going by. A salamander just got another non-contingent reinforcer. Eventually, if you're using this technique of giving it every 30 seconds and then slowly over time, increasing it till you've got it up to like a minute or 2 minutes without any problems, what you're going to eventually do is just, sometimes you will do this when you're with the bird, sometimes you won't. And eventually, you'll be able to fade that away and maybe only occasionally have to do it to reinforce it. And that will stop the behavior, to extinguish the behavior you don't want, okay? So those are 2 techniques you can use. Right? Right. What are you doing, Pip? What are you doing up there besides asking me to pet your beak? I hope those 2 techniques will help. It's been a little busy in here today. I've had to defend the phone. I had Pippa walk up on my hand and was standing on it. Right now I have Jasmine sitting on the side of my head. So I hope that you can get what you need from this little episode. The 2 things I'm teaching you here are... So the 2 things I hope you get out of this are non-contingent reinforcement, which is basically giving reinforcement on an irregular schedule to all the birds who are out with you. It's crazy in here trying to do this today, isn't it, girl? And then there's the DRO, the differential reinforcement of an other behavior. So on that one, you're going to do it on a regular schedule. So you're just looking for any other behavior, okay? They can do anything other than, let's say, the biting or the screaming that you're trying to stop, whatever behavior you're trying to stop, that resets the timer, so you start over again. Main things to remember, in the non-contingent, you just give it on an irregular schedule, okay? Right, Bob? On the contingent, or the DRO, you... They're all just going nuts here. It's partially because we've got sundown happening very soon, so soon. I don't like the word very. The only time you can use the word very is in a sentence by itself. Is she rich? Very. Yeah. But those are two great techniques, and I hope you find use for them. And remember, you can support us by going to www.chloesanctuary.org or patreon.com/chloesanctuary. And we sure appreciate the support. And all of you who are supporting us, thank you so much. You're keeping it fun, and you're keeping them happy and healthy. So we'll see you next time. That's it for Cockatude.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a non-profit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.